Hello everyone. Today is still 4th of September. Now it's about 6 o'clock in the evening Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second update for a day in which I will share at least some of the main news that was reported by Russian media since my first update. And well, quite noisy, isn't it? Although I'm not quite sure, microphone can take that noise. But in any ways, let's talk about news. And first of all, I'll give you information update of the Russian Defense Ministry on progress of special military operation in Kursk salient area, which is temporarily occupied by Kiev regime and NATO forces and mercenaries. And well, according to Russian Defense Ministry, since the beginning of occupation of this Kursk salient, Kiev regime lost up to 10,000 military personnel, more than 9,700 to be more precise. Also, by the way, 81 tanks, 39 infantry fighting vehicles, 70 armored personnel carriers, 576 different type of armored vehicles, trucks, personnel carriers and so on. Also 313 motorcars, 72 artillery systems, 22 launchers for MLRS systems, multi-launch rocket systems basically, including 7 US-made HIMARS MLRS. Also 8 launchers for air defense systems, 7 counter-battery radars, 2 radars of the air defense systems, 8 units of engineering equipment, including 2 engineering machines for the mining processes and bunch of other military equipment. But of course, main attention by public will be paid to losses of the Kiev regime of the manpower in this direction. And well, the Russian Defense Ministry is reporting that Kiev regime lost more than 9,700 military personnel in Kursk salient area since the beginning of invasion. Huge number, by the way, huge number. And one may argue that these losses are accounted for. These losses are coming from at least 4 to 5 brigades, if not more, of the Kiev regime, which basically indicates that from whatever number of brigades from strategic reserves were deployed in Kursk direction, in Kursk salient, at least 4 or 5 of them already lost battle capabilities. And we are talking about strategic reserves of the Kiev regime, so this information is clearly significant. Also, by the way, when it comes to Kursk salient, the so-called president of Ukraine, Zelensky, had probably poor quality of powder or something, and he came up with a statement that Ukraine will continue to occupy Russian territory in Kursk region indefinitely. Of course, it is not possible to comment seriously on these statements of Zelensky, but when it comes to this temporary occupation, it is so obvious, isn't it, for everybody, that it's only a matter of time, maybe another 3-4 weeks, maybe a bit more, but eventually, of course, Russian troops will neutralize all the invading forces and re-establish control over the borderline, and then most likely we will see liberation of their Sumy region, bordering Sumy region, from occupying regime of the collective West. But yet again, I mean, the statement of Zelensky that they will occupy Russian territory indefinitely clearly indicates in which place Zelensky really is. I mean, completely out of his mind, out of touch with reality. Also, by the way, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov made a comment on information that Washington may start deliveries of to Kiev regime, deliveries of their long-range cruise missiles, and Lavrov stated that in this particular case, US administration should not play games with the Russian red lines, and Washington knows perfectly well where these red lines are. So once again, strong statements, strong warnings from Moscow in regards to constant escalatory steps from the collective West. Only question is now when and how Russia will retaliate, because it's quite obvious that there is no way, absolutely no way, Washington or London or Brussels gonna listen to any warnings from Russia. We all understand that. So at some point, I guess, we will see a response from Moscow. Also interesting news that Secretary General of IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, visited Zaporozhye nuclear power plant today, and after this visit he made a statement that situation on the power plant is fragile. What a statement, isn't it? And dear friends, if you remember, a couple of days ago, this very individual, Rafael Grossi, was in Kursk, in Kurchatov city. He visited Kursk nuclear power station, and I believe he was shown all these debris of the fragments of the drones and the weapon systems, basically, that Kiev regime was using during the strikes on Kursk nuclear power station. And what kind of statements Rafael Grossi made after that? According to reports in Russian segment of internet, Grossi said that he has no decisive information to make statements about which side is targeting, which side was involved in targeting of the Kursk nuclear power station. Absolutely insane statement, pure madness. But yet again, that's the personality, by the way, that formally is in leadership of International Atomic Energy Agency. What can I say? What can I say? Asset of CIA, by the way. Rafael Grossi is asset of CIA and should be prosecuted for his crimes against humanity, because ignoring nuclear threats that are coming from Kiev's regime is definitely a crime against humanity. 100%. In my personal opinion, and I guess majority of our community will share similar opinion. And therefore, I'm not at all surprised that Rafael Grossi never ever mentioned Kiev regime, responsibility of the Kiev regime, whenever strikes were conducted on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, which was targeted, of course, significantly more often than Kursk nuclear power station. Dear friends, it's a little windy, and I'm not quite sure that sound is okay. I will stop now recording. I will check sound. If it's okay, okay. If not, then I will most likely start recording from the beginning. So let me check. Okay, it was a little noisy for about a minute, but rest of the video, first half of this video was kind of okay, and therefore I will continue. if I may. And next news is about Dmitry Kuleba, so-called foreign minister of Kiev regime. And well, today more media outlets reported that Kuleba most likely will be replaced, and later on this afternoon information broke that Kuleba write a resignation later to state, rather. That's the name of so-called parliament in Ukraine. Although, by the way, according to reports that I see, rather end the workday without making any decision on Kuleba. But I guess decision already being made, and most likely Kiev regime will have another person as a foreign minister. And as I said in the first update, most likely one of the reasons that Kuleba is about to be replaced is his disturbing and disrespectful statements towards Polish people, Poland, Polish history that he made during the recent visit to eastern parts of Poland. And Warsaw was very much not happy about these statements. I reported about it. Tusk made the statements, some other officials also, critical statements towards Kuleba, and I guess that was the last drop for Western ruling class to basically order Kiev regime to replace this individual. And that's exactly what is going to happen. Some Ukrainian propaganda outlets already are speculating where Kuleba will continue his work, and one of the predictions are that he will probably be appointed, or he will work on integration, on topic of integration of Ukraine into NATO. So basically he will do nothing, because of course Ukraine will never ever join the NATO. It's just too obvious for everybody, or should be obvious for everybody. Anyways, let's continue with some other news now. And for example, Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Kobachidze, made quite significant, important statements today. And in one of his statements, he basically questioned legitimacy of the president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, after she broke the Georgia's constitution. And this was stated by, as far as I understand, this was stated also by Georgia's Constitutional Court. And the issue is that previously Salome Zurabishvili conducted several foreign trips in the collective West countries, and according to Georgia's constitution, Georgia is a parliamentary republic, by the way, so president has some nominal powers, really, although she can work as a representative of Georgia, obviously. But whenever she is planning any trips, her administration have to contact Prime Minister's administration, and without Prime Minister's agreement on the trip, she is not allowed, according to Georgia's constitution, she as a president of Georgia is not allowed to conduct a trip. But she ignored this article in the constitution and went on at least 2 or 3 trips. And this was enough for a ruling party in Georgia to get very angry on her. And they already had plenty of reasons, by the way, to oppose Salome Zurabishvili, who is, by the way, president of Georgia, thanks to ruling party. But it's a you know, complex story, and there is no time now for to dig in or dive in to that whole situation. But well, now what is factual that Prime Minister of Georgia, ruling party in Georgia, government, they are all opposing Georgia, want her to be impeached, and they tried, according to reports that I see from Georgia, they tried, but failed because the so-called opposition did not participate in a voting process, and therefore she will most likely remain as a president of Georgia until October elections. And after elections, according to Georgia's constitution, the president of Georgia no longer will be elected directly by votes of their citizens, but will be elected by parliament. So big changes in this regard is about to happen in Georgia, although, by the way, there is a significant risk that Western ruling class that is not happy with the current leadership of Georgia will use upcoming parliamentary elections on October 26 as a starting point for a new process of destabilization of the Georgia. And Western ruling class, unfortunately, has quite a significant number of assets in Georgian so-called media, in Georgian so-called non-governmental organizations that are financed mainly by the West. And of course, Western ruling class has huge influence on so-called opposition. So therefore, it is clearly a high risk that Western ruling class will at least try to destabilize country, then to conduct regime change, and eventually use Georgia as a kind of second front against Russia, and to sacrifice Georgian people and the republic itself. And Georgia's current government very well aware of that, and there are a number of high-ranking officials openly are saying that they will not allow foreign forces to destroy Georgia to play with Georgia as they did with Ukraine. So I don't think there can be any more clear messages from Tbilisi, from the capital of Georgia, right? So interesting developments are happening, by the way, and I hope Georgian society will stand united and strong, and also Georgia's security services will stay out of politics, so that when, not if, but when Western ruling class will start destabilizing country, most likely after, maybe a little bit even before parliamentary elections, and then during the parliamentary elections and after, Georgia will be united enough to withstand all that pressure and overcome all the provocations. Time will tell. It's only a couple of months left in that regard. Also, by the way, interesting news is coming from India. And well, point is that New Delhi approves new defense purchases worth $17 billion, by the way. Huge amount of money. Although what is interesting, most of this amount will stay in India, and weapon systems will be purchased from local weapons manufacturers. And India's defense ministry is and India's government basically is focused on replacing first of all aging fleet of T-72 tanks, and most likely defense institution will purchase over 1,500 new tanks from local manufacturers, and these tanks are going to be a latest modification of the Arjun tank, I guess, because this is domestically engineered and built tank. Although it is highly likely also that maybe instead of Arjun tanks, India will purchase, India will receive license from Russia to produce, for example, T-90M tanks that are, you know, let's be real here. T-90M tanks are significantly more capable than India's domestically produced Arjun tanks, and India has a manufacturing capabilities to build Russian engineered tanks, because a significant number of Indian tanks of Soviet design are built by Indian manufacturers under the license, under the Soviet, I believe, first, and then under the Russian license. So maybe we will see this scenario when India will purchase Russian engineered tanks. Maybe India will choose these domestically engineered tanks, Arjun, or maybe there will be some mix. Maybe there will be some mix, and India will purchase several hundred of one tanks and several hundred of another ones. In any case, it is important to notice that India's defense industrial complex is in a place now when New Delhi will have to, will not be in a position to heavily rely on foreign supplies as before, and local producers will provide India's defense needs, even if they are building some weapon systems under the license. There's nothing wrong with that, isn't it? Because you are receiving some technologies, some knowledge, experience, and that gives you opportunity to build something of your own design, isn't it? So interesting news there. Also, by the way, India will of course pay significant attention to missile systems and its nuclear capabilities. That's also a significant topic. And of course, neighboring Pakistan and neighboring China will not be very much happy about it, but I mean, it is what it is. India has to protect itself, and that is that. Okay. Let's continue. And by the way, news from Eastern Economical Forum that is taking place in Vladivostok. Today, Russian President Vladimir Putin had a meeting with the Vice Prime Minister of Serbia, Aleksandar Vulin, and during this conversation, Russian President basically invited the President of Serbia, Vučić, to participate in upcoming BRICS summit in Kazan, capital of Russia's Tatarstan Autonomous Republic. And it is, let me show you some newly built apartment or residential complex there. Looks nice. And yes, most likely Vučić will accept this invitation and will participate in the work of this Kazan BRICS summit. Also, by the way, Russian President had a conversation with the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, and of course, one of the topics of discussion was Malaysia's intent to join the BRICS. Obviously, not just bilateral relationships between the countries, but also Malaysia's intent to join the BRICS. And I already see several statements from different experts and even officials, according to which Malaysia has very good chances to join the BRICS, and that's possibly what is going to happen. Yes, nice complex, by the way, really. I mean, the rest of the buildings here are, majority at least, in this particular area are Soviet era built, and this new complex clearly shines out, kind of, and it looks nice, isn't it? It definitely does. And dear friends, let me give you a few more news and I will end this update on that. For example, aide of Russian President Yuri Ushakov stated that confirmed basically information that Turkey officially applied for BRICS membership. So it's official now. Earlier, Bloomberg reported about it, but there was no official statements made on that. And now we have official confirmation that yes, Turkey applied to become a BRICS member state, which is, I will say, slap into face of the Western ruling class, isn't it? Because after all, Turkey was and still is member of NATO and member of the collective West in one capacity or another, but still. And now question is how, what kind of talks will or negotiations will take place between Ankara and the capitals of the BRICS nations, because me personally definitely seeing problem that Turkey represents NATO and collective West. And you know my take on NATO and the collective West, or Western ruling class, I should say. NATO as organization is clearly one of the top destructive forces in this world right now, and Western ruling class is number one major destructive force in this world. And while Turkey is a part of this club, at least partially, how they gonna join BRICS, by the way, this foundational stone of the emerging multipolar world, I don't know. I don't really get it. But in any case, of course, this Turkey's application is clearly a slap into face of the Western ruling class. That's for sure. And that's why, by the way, most likely Western ruling class will activate their assets in Turkey to make sure that not just Erdogan will be replaced after next elections, but also his party, and eventually Western puppets will take over the Turkey. They're gonna do whatever it takes to achieve that. Mark my word. And dear friends, I will end this update on this quite interesting news that NVIDIA chip manufacturer basically had their historical losses when it comes to its share prices, and you might not believe how much they lost. So let me give you some numbers, by the way. So capitalization of the company decreased from 2.92 trillion US dollars to 2.64 trillion US dollars, by the way, in a single day, which is the biggest loss for any business ever since the statistics has begun. NVIDIA lost on 3rd of September, by the way. NVIDIA lost 9.52% of its share value, which is there was a number which is $278.9 billion. In single day, they lost $278.9 billion, which is, by the way, once again, indicates, in my personal opinion, and that all these IT companies are just a bubble that will burst at one point. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen for sure, because it's just not nonsensical that companies can lose almost 300 billion in a single day. It's just it's crazy. It's not normal, right? These companies are inflated. Shares of these companies are inflated on an unbelievable level, and whenever some negative news is coming from any of the places in this world which is connected one way or another with the cheap manufacturing or rare earth materials or anything like that. These companies are losing big time, but yet again, historically speaking, no company ever had lost 300 billion, almost 300 billion in a single day. And well, until now, until yesterday, when Nvidia did that. And this is US company, I believe, by the way. So quite interesting news, quite interesting news. And hopefully you will find all this update interesting and informative. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. And if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends on any of the platforms that you are actively using on internet or in real life. And maybe we will manage to influence algorithm to reach wider audience. And finally, if you like my work, if you like my channels and want to support, you can do it with donations through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page or Boosty page, by the way, on which I have quite regular extra content. And well, today, for example, once I will, finish recording this update, I will make some additional episodes of behind the scenes program for Patreon and Boosty, and maybe I will publish this episode later on today or tomorrow. Let's see. So yes, there is plenty of videos there as extra, and hopefully you will find it interesting if you will join our Patreon and Boosty community, as our communities are. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.